This is Ash Ketchum, and you're listening to Silph Radio.
This is Silph Radio, a Pokemon-centered podcast. Each episode of Silph Radio, we look at a different aspect of the Pokemon universe. We have a lot of fun doing it, too. We take it really, really seriously while simultaneously taking it not seriously at all, and it's a heck of a lot of fun, and we're glad you decided to join us. Today, we are welcoming back one of our most beloved and intelligent and creative guest hosts that we're lucky enough to have on the show. His name, as you all, I'm sure, are already aware, is Jeremy Vyne. Welcome back, Jeremy.
I'm glad to be back, and thank you for the high praise.
Oh.
It sets me on edge and makes me incredibly nervous.
Well, thank you for being worthy of the high praise, sir.
Thank you.
This is a fan-produced podcast. We have no affiliation with Nintendo, Game Freak, the Pokemon Company, or any. We're not official in any capacity.
Except for our fanatic, overt love of the franchise.
That is official. It's official. We official. Jeremy, I'm so happy to have you back. It's been a long time. This is really just the first time we've talked in a long time. So, how are you?
I'm doing really good.
That's good to hear.
I really am.
What's new with you in the Pokemon world?
Let's see. I managed to do a bit of the battle tree. I managed to actually face off against Gary, finally. That guy was a pain.
Oh, you mean Blue in Alola?
Yeah.
Stop calling him motherfucking Gary, Jeremy.
He is clearly Gary.
His name is Blue. Gary is clearly Blue, not the other way around.
Okay, fine. Blue, because everyone's named colors like that.
That's awesome. I wish I had time to play. I actually just yesterday morning, when I was getting ready for my commute to work, busted out my old DSi and threw in my old Fire Red version that I got probably about 10 years ago for Christmas, and caught up with my Pokemon team on there. That was really cool.
Oh man, I had a Breloom in there. I loved my Breloom, I had Leaf Green though.
Yeah, well, I had Leaf Green too. Fire Red was given to me as I was like, you know what? I have Leaf Green, so why not Fire Red? So I never actually finished the game. I was in Fuchsia City, and I actually I'm in Seafoam Islands now. I took the team out, leveled them up a bit. It was nice. It's been a long time since I've actually played, and it was nice to go back to Kanto.
Yeah. Kanto was the bomb.
So, today, we are revisiting an older episode, one of our most popular episodes, an episode which really should have had Jeremy on it, so it's only natural that we follow it up with the professor himself, Jeremy Vyne. Our topic today is sort of inspired a little bit because I hate when I go on YouTube and I'm like, you know what, I want to watch a video about some interesting takes on, like, Pokemon and theories about how science works and theories about their society and Pokemon. And you know what I'm sick of? Every theory is like, everyone's actually dead, or they kill the Pokemon, or Pikachu's really a rock type, even though it's actually a Porygon, even though it's actually Mimikyu, even though it's Mewfor. I've had enough of these outlandish theories. And
I find the drugs these people are taking.
The drugs, I'll tell you what kind of drugs. It's clicks and hits and producing regular content. Producing content on a regular basis.
Hey, that is technically a drug that anybody on YouTube should be taking, apparently.
Yeah, I get it. When you got to come out with a video a week, your game theories are going to get a little outlandish. But I think it's so much more interesting to really, really look at it. I mean, you have to be the type of fans that we are to do this, though. But that's why we're here today, because, Jeremy, I know that you and I both, since we were kids, have dedicated a lot of thought to these very basic mysteries of the Pokemon universe. Now, I'm not talking about who is Red's father or how do you move the truck. I'm talking about why can you only have 6 Pokemon?
Yeah.
How do Pokeballs work? Is society cruel? Like, and we've both dedicated a lot of thought to this, yes?
Yep. Why is it that Pikachu doesn't die every time he uses an electrical attack?
Just Pikachu's in general, or Ash's Pikachu?
Pikachu's in general, but especially Ash's Pikachu. I don't know why he doesn't fry his own brain.
That's a good question. They're obviously built for it, I think, is the easiest answer. But
fine.
I came with an agenda prepared today. I've actually been dedicating a lot of thought to this recently, and I don't mean to sound arrogant. Like, I'm not saying it in an arrogant way, but I think I figured it out. Like, I think I have a very basic, like comprehensive and detailed, but simple and basic at heart, sort of unified theory for all these mysteries of the Pokemon universe.
Are you saying you've solved Pokemon?
Well, not everything. There'll always be fun things to talk about, but I think I think I've gotten to the core of some of these issues and figured them out in a way that to me just seems so intuitive and basic that it's gotta be, and there's no drastic leaps in headcanon required. We're just gonna dive in here in a second. I've organized our discussion tonight by 5 basic categories. Chapter 1 is the bond between humankind and Pokemon. Chapter 2 is Pokemon biology. Chapter 3, technology. Chapter 4, society. And Chapter 5, the League. And while it's impossible to have
my first thoughts are, damn, that's a hell of a lot of organizational skill.
Oh, man. It was tough to do because we don't think linearly. So this is going to be all over the map. And I'm going to let you talk a lot more than I have been, just trying to set this up. But I'm really excited to dive in with you.
Totally.
So the first thing we will be looking at is the bond between humankind and Pokemon, or the bond between trainer and Pokemon. I think this is an often overlooked in the fandom element of the franchise, that it is explicitly stated that you as a trainer share a bond with your Pokemon, which an emotional bond, a physical like type of like bond, like you are, that's where Mega Evolution comes from. There is an actual like metaphysical bond between you.
Maybe even a legitimate physical one.
In what way?
There's this kind of interestingly observed biological principle called biological synchronicity. If you take enough time, for instance, to look at women, if they spend enough close proximity to each other, their periods will actually start to sync up, for instance. Or if 2 heart cells from 2 different people touch one another, they'll suddenly synchronize and beat at the same time, even though originally their heart cells beat at different rhythms each time.
And doesn't this happen to in some capacity on like a quantum level with quantum entanglement?
Yes. It also is shown to be displayed that the process hastens the more sympathetic the 2 beings are to each other. So the more you share reciprocative mental or emotional bond with the person, the faster this biosynchronicity is shown to develop.
Absolutely. I can totally see the bond manifesting itself in ways differently depending on the species of Pokemon. Like if you were bonded with a Vileplume or a Gloom, it might actually physically manifest perhaps in the way that it releases certain spores which actually enter your bloodstream and sort of synchronize with you. Or I know that wasn't exactly what you're saying, but that's just the direction I took it. Mm-hmm. And in different ways. But I also think that there is this sort of, I guess for lack of a better term, like metaphysical. I think, so what the entire discussion sort of hinges on, or at least where it begins, is that there's this sort of energy, this bonding energy, I guess, between trainer and Pokemon. And up until the episode with Andrew Spawn, which we just did, about the Delta species Pokemon, that was sort of a big hole and gap in my theory. I was like, there's got to be some type of energy associated with it in order for my theory to hold up and tie together. But there's no reference in-game to this energy. Yes, there is in the card game. So in this energy I'm speaking of, I'm theorizing that it's represented in the card game as grass, fire, water, lightning, fighting, psychic, colorless, darkness, metal, dragon, fairy, and that this energy is going to sort of be at the core of a lot of our discussions tonight. So we're going to cover it more like when we talk about Pokemon biology.
There's also a reference beyond the card games to this energy.
Yes. Do go on.
It's aura.
Oh.
Aura is specifically mentioned, and it's in fact one of the primary foci of Lucario. Aura is the suffusing life force that goes through everything, and it manifests in different forms and functions, but aura permeates all things around it.
Absolutely. Perfect. And we don't even need midichlorians.
Yep.
So hold on, I can just delete that whole section of my notes about midichlorians. Oh yeah, and I have to delete this part about Snoke being Darth Plagueis. That's no longer relevant.
What podcast is this?
It's Professor Snoke's radio hour. I don't know. So yes, that's perfect. The aura, and I think in conjunction with this energy, which again we're going to explain further, is the binding agent. Your auras become intertwined and linked. And I think it's sort of a natural thing and also a tradition, but it predates the invention of Pokeballs. So that's why we're talking about this before we talk about technology. It's the union of the two sentient races of this world, so it naturally becomes the cornerstone of society as we proceed forward. That's why we'll explore the ways that this idea, this thing, this phenomenon, there's the word I'm looking for, is at the heart of the development of society and why things are the way they are in the Pokemon universe.
Absolutely.
So the way I've been seeing it is that, okay, the bond that you forge with a Pokemon happens over the course of doing battle. And this is because of the exchange of energy that is happening. So actually, let's talk about this energy. The way I mean, this energy in the card game, at least, is what gives its Pokemon its elemental type. That's why type in the card game is different from type in the games, i.e., lightning instead of electric, or darkness instead of dark, or metal instead of steel. This is just the type of energy that the Pokemon most uses, although Pokemon probably use a combination of all energy, just like you can attach any type of energy in the card game. So when Pokemon are engaged in battle, this energy is being exchanged at like such a rapid rate that they're being exposed to it more often. Like a Pokemon's naturally exposed to these energies from their environments, from interacting with other Pokemon and people. This is why traveling, trading, battling, interacting in different capacities like contests is also important and so encouraged. And this is what helps Pokemon grow, become stronger, level up, learn and execute techniques, evolve. It's called evolution because the Pokemon's adapting to the different types of energy it's exposed to.
And also to the constant rate of struggle. It needs a struggling stimuli to actually activate any kind of evolutionary jump.
Yes. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it is still recognized as metamorphosis. It's just specifically called evolution as a linguistic convention to distinguish it and separate it from other types of metamorphosis. It's a specific type of metamorphosis specific to Pokemon. And I think what makes these Pokemon a singular species is the way that they naturally utilize this energy.
Yeah.
So this leads me to the most basic of all assumptions, which I think we never made because it was so basic. It was right underneath our noses. The 6 Pokemon limit isn't a regulation. It isn't a technological limitation. It's just the natural limit to the amount of Pokemon that a human can share this bond with at one time. Does that make sense?
It could make sense.
Okay.
It may not make permanent sense.
They may do things which change it.
There may be things which change it. I can see that if you keep with the canon that it starts off with very young people. I can even see the development of why the trainer starts out so young, if that would happen to be the case. Because if you start them off young enough so that they have a certain amount of untapped but reserve energy, and it's continued to be exercised as they grow and develop, it would allow for them to have an experience in exchanging this energy bond, and over time would strengthen it. And this could appear in more than one way, insofar as you could either control more Pokemon and bond with more, or you could invest more and more honed energy towards the 6 that you keep in your team. It could explain why an adult male in one of the Pokemon cartoon episodes, an adult male was capable of holding on to so many Execute, like just an enormous amount, whereas Ash was still only able to keep his 6.
So this is jumping to technology a little bit, but the way I see it is like Pokeballs are programmed to send to the PC after 6, and that is regulatory because it's dangerous and irresponsible to have a bunch of animals with you that you haven't bonded with. Now, that doesn't mean it's inherently dangerous and irresponsible. Perhaps this guy with his Executes doing fine, or Melanie with her secret garden, or Phil with his fucking Weedle colony. They're fine. But it was just a responsible decision by the people designing and selling the Pokeballs to be like, look, Giovanni could just amass an army of Pokemon and take over or something like that. So it's just a reasonable, responsible limitation to put because the bond incurs, like, I see it like once the bond is formed, this Pokemon will like fight to protect your life as if it were its own. That's why if a wild Pokemon attacks and you just caught a Pidgey, you can send that Pidgey out and it'll still fight for you even though you haven't trained it, because it can sense and recognize that your life is in danger, and it treats that as if it was its own life in danger, whether or not it likes you.
I think that comes also with a symbiotic, mutually beneficial attachment.
Yes.
I already have surmised that there's a biosynchronous living energy attachment between Pokemon and trainer. And if they lose their trainer, they lose that energy bond. And Pokemon, it's already been stated, seek battle and conflict on their own, and they seek to evolve. And the best way, the most efficient way to evolve is to bond with human trainers.
Yes. And to me, the reason is because by bonding with a human trainer and participating in this social structure that's developed over the centuries, they are getting the opportunity to travel and explore different areas, to be exposed to different types of Pokemon and much more battles
and
with experience.
push their evolution.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. And in that regard, that is the other reason why they will instinctually be driven to protect your life as if it were their own, because it is their quality of life they are protecting. They realize that by biosynchronously bonding with you in a symbiotic system, that you improve their functionality and their life quality. And if you're not there, their life quality will diminish.
Yes, which is why they've consented to like suspended animation, because
yes,
it's a social contract they've made. We consent to going to work today and working soulless jobs for the benefits that it gives us, and that could be argued, but that's the matter. So like, it's not that weird. People act like it's so cruel that we put these Pokemon in Pokeballs and all this, but I don't think it's cruel any more than social and cultural conventions are cruel. So that is to say, yes, it's cruel, but it's a complex issue. And I see this as much less cruel than our social contracts. It's something they've chosen to do. And also because they're comfortable doing it because they don't bond with someone they don't respect. And sure, a trainer, they can bond with someone they eventually don't respect. Like Damien, can trick him by like battling really good, like into respecting him and then treating him like shit. But still, it's sort of a safeguard that like not just anyone is going to bond with this Pokemon.
And even if the human did treat them like shit, that's actually not the Pokemon's concern.
Yeah.
The Pokemon might emotionally end up damaged, but their immediate concern, the reason why they put up with these social contracts, as you stated, is for that mutually beneficial evolutionary turn.
Yeah, it's just like if you're involved in like BDSM or something, you're going to need to trust the person who's tying you up and pulling out whips and chains and stuff. So if you're a Pokemon trainer who's going to consent to being put in this tiny ball and possibly put in a PC bank for a month or two at a time, you're making a leap of trust because you're like, I respect and trust this trainer, that they're not the type to just catch a million Pokemon, throw them in the PC box and let them rot there.
Yeah. Even though I'm completely guilty of that.
Yeah, we all are in the games. But again, they're games. We're also guilty of just walking in on people's houses. I don't think people just walk in and take shit in this universe. It's a game.
They might. We don't know that.
But also,
we don't know what's appropriate in culture.
As I've said, you're playing the type of trainer who's such a prodigy that they amaze everyone with their ability to bond with so many different types of Pokemon. So,
and just randomly walk into your house and pick through your garbage. It literally amazes them to the point of being dumbfounded. And they're just like, okay.
So, like,
here's a TM.
This is another reason that Master Balls have never been put on the market. I think we were just saying fuck the categorization at this point. But it's a useful tool if we need to come back to it. But Master Balls, they instantly catch any Pokemon. Now, like when you're battling a Pokemon, what you're really doing is forging a bond with it. You're not so much weakening it so that it can't break out of the Pokeball. Yes, there is an aspect of that involved, but what's really happening is once a Pokemon is bonded with you, it won't break out of a Pokeball. And that's the main reason you have to whittle down its health, because
you have to prove your worthiness.
Yes.
In order for it to respect you, that you are competent enough to master it, you have to have taken a Pokemon, matched it to its expertise, and shown it that you are able to beat it.
Yes,
by training another Pokemon.
When you are in battle, you're linked with this Pokemon and experiencing the battle. You pass out if all your Pokemon pass out, And like, so you are involved in this battle. It is battling you in a sense. That's why trainers are like, use Razor Leaf, use this. Everyone's so cynical and they're like, don't you think the Pokemon are like, look, I know how to do my job. No, their experience, it's not even just a boxer and a trainer. They're experiencing it simultaneously.
Jab for the left, Rocky.
So yeah, a Master Ball, you could just run up to Mewtwo. We'll say not Mewtwo. If Master Balls were commercially available, youngster Joey could go to the mart, save up his money and go to the mart and buy a Master Ball, go to the Safari Zone, capture a Scyther, and then he lets it out in the middle of a Pokemon Center and it just kills everyone because he didn't actually forge a bond with it. And it's just like, fuck you, I'm a wild Scyther.
Yep.
So that's why only certain people get the Master Ball, and they've never been commercially released on the market because they're irresponsible and dangerous.
Well, I can say that each time that you've seen it in the game incarnations, every single damn time that you see it, it's because it's being, quote, researched.
The Master Ball?
Yeah. It's never fully done being researched.
Totally. It
annoys the ever-loving piss out of me.
Well, what I think happened is they invented it. It's done. It works. Like, that much is inarguable. Red had one or has one. Like, he either used it or is holding on to it. And Giovanni tried to get it like it works. The problem is they're not going to release it unless they can develop it in a responsible fashion. So if they're doing any research on it, that's the research they're doing. Although it's more than likely they were like, look.
On top of that, there's even an anime episode where a Master Ball actually does fail.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Well, okay, nothing's impossible. It's technology. But I would say it pretty much does what it's meant to do. But they're just like, look, there's no way to make this a responsible thing. People shouldn't be able to just use a Master Ball. It's not socially responsible. It's like the difference between allowing people to have handguns and have like an entire army of assault rifles and military grade weaponry, you know?
Now, hold on. There are some states that state that you should be allowed to have as many assault rifles as your big American dreams can handle.
And there are some people in the Pokemon universe who say, fuck your regulations, the League. But it's interesting because this also brings up a question about trading. Like, so if you only bond with the 6 and then you catch extra Pokemon, they're sent to your bank. I think so long as you have bonded with someone and you were the OT original trainer, it's easy to just instantly reestablish that bond when you pull them out of the PC. But this is why traded Pokemon are less likely to obey you, because when you make a trade with someone, you haven't done the work to establish the bond. So that's why traded Pokemon are the ones that aren't going to listen if you don't have enough gym badges, which we're going to talk about gym badges later, because you have to still battle with them and proceed and strengthen your bond with them.
Yep.
So, yeah, wow, I'm glad we're in agreement on a lot of this stuff.
I'm sorry I can't challenge you more when your theories are so damn well worked out and thought out.
Yeah, I mean, the energy thing really does I almost feel like it's moot to discuss breeding, because it's like, well, yeah, the Pokemon exchange their energy, produce an egg. This is sort of setting a precedence for a lot of things. So I'm curious then, if we're in agreement about how this stuff sort of naturally works, then how does it inform the development and formation of society, technology, and the Pokemon League and Pokemon battling for sport and whatnot?
Well, there's a lot of involvement when it comes to the sharing of energy, but also the bonding of Pokemon and humans. If you look in the games themselves, there's even hints that at one time humanity and Pokemon fought against each other. And humans were kind of outclassed, as you would expect.
Yeah.
But at some point, some noble human set down their arms and developed basically the equivalent of a peace treaty. I think that has partially some to do with how we've bonded now. But also, there are proven, established Pokemon for whom this energy is so profoundly locked with them that they change the face of the planet that humans and Pokemon share.
Are you talking about legendaries or just regular
Legendaries.
The legendaries?
Yes.
So do you see the legendaries as purely biological creatures, at least in the same way that, like, Pikachu is? I know we can say it's not purely biological because they use this energy, but it's for the baseline of Pokemon, it's purely biological. Do you see the legendaries as purely biological to that standard, or more mythical and mystical?
First, we have to establish that the Pokemon world and the way that their physics fundamentally reflects ours, but also has a further development when it comes to the tie between mass and energy and how biological organisms can influence that. So when it comes to a legendary, I want to say yes, they are, quote, mystical, but only so far as their biologies are so advanced and so complex that they fundamentally use aura and the elemental manifestations of aura at a profoundly different and higher function than your other standard Pokemon.
So in the same way that like Thor says what's magic to you is just technology to us, like our technology you guys call magic, it's sort of like that idea, but not technology, but our biology and natural design. The Kyogre, for example, utilizes energy just naturally, this water type energy, so efficiently and to such a magnitude that we're not able to understand, that it's able to actually expand the amount of water in the world to a way that we would call magical or mystical.
Correct.
But really, it's all just manipulation of this energy, the same thing Blastoises do, but on such a grander scale that we might as well call it a fucking god.
Yes. I feel this goes towards everything right down to the functioning of understanding Arceus.
Arceus. So Arceus is also purely biological?
I believe that he is purely energy that is at such a dense degree, which is still matter, because that's all that matter really is, incredibly complex and tightly bundled energy. But he is at such a overclock of E equals MC squared that he is functionally different from every organism around him.
And that would explain why Arceus is able to change to every type, working with the theory that we've been proposing, that it has to do with this energy that defines their types. If Arceus is purely energy, then of course it would be able to change to different types. It contains all these energies within itself, created the world.
And if you accept that he was the first living organism, then you also have to take into account that if he was the first living organism, and he is this first manifestation of energy into mass, everything that he reflected became what we understand as mass and energy and their interconnectedness. In a way, he still is every Pokemon, every plant, every rock, every person. So it's more like he's also a nexus point for these interchangings and these exchanges of energy and mass.
He lives in you. He lives in me.
It's why...
No, The Lion King 2, anybody? No?
It's why when you look at the movie, for instance, he was able to take, I believe, water, grass, and dragon energy plates, form them into an orb, give them to a human, and take a wasteland and make it a fertile valley.
So the legendaries manage the natural world in such a way that it's awesome in the sense of the original sense of the word awesome. Regular Pokemon, though, I think also most of them are like nature spirits, or at the very least animals which fulfill a natural role in the ecosystem. So I see society as being equally 50-50 human and Pokemon, whereas a lot of people are like, yeah, humans just enslave Pokemon. No, humans manage the type of things that humans manage, like cities, technology, etc. Pokemon just don't, that's not the type of things that they naturally do, but it is the type of things that humans naturally do. It's in our nature. So Pokemon manage the type of things that Pokemon manage, like the environment, and that's one of the reasons technology progresses so efficiently and quickly, but the world and the natural beauty of the world is still preserved and maintained, because while half of society is working towards progressing society and technology, the other half of society is working towards maintaining a healthy environment.
Yes, you can think of the Pokemon as the arbiter of resources, and then you can think of humans as the shapers of those resources. So the Pokemon ensure that there is water, there is fire, there is enough electricity, and that biological organisms such as trees and funguses and whatnot are kept and maintained in a high and yet still balanced rate of growth and efficacy. But then human beings figure out how to utilize those towards the most beneficial end of, I guess you would say, technological development or refined development.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe the reason you can travel at such a young age, that's another criticism levied against Pokemon, is because in this type of world, violent crime just is not really much of a thing. Like in a world where most people's needs are met and aggressions are taken out in a really healthy, productive way that actually encourages life instead of ending life. By that I mean Pokemon battling. It encourages biological production, it encourages Pokemon to grow and be the healthiest they can. So there's just not much. It
encourages competition rather than undercutting.
Yeah, there's not much violent crime, and even when there is, it's probably done with Pokemon versus Pokemon or some type of Pokemon attack, which is a lot safer in general than a knife to the gut. Like, not to imply that Pokemon can't kill someone or seriously injure somebody, but like, of course, the cars can kill and seriously injure somebody, and we let people drive them when they're 16. Like,
yeah, I mean, they even show that there is a different level to what Pokemon do to each other. In the very first movie, Mew versus Mewtwo, Mew suppresses the Pokemon's natural combat abilities, and they start actually fighting. Like, actually fighting.
Yeah.
And you just see the pointless stupidity of it, and all the trainers that are present see the same thing. There actually is a difference in the nature of how Pokemon battle and how people represent themselves in conflict in the Pokemon world. It is different from mindless violence.
Yeah, and there really is. I mean, sure, everyone's immune to everything if you ask them, but like society and culture do influence you. Like, there's a reason. I don't know what that reason is. I don't claim to be a sociological genius or anything, but like the gun violence is higher in America, and like that violent crimes are higher in certain parts of the world than others. Like, there's a reason people in Japan aren't afraid to walk around. Now, I'm not trying to imply anything. Don't infer that I'm saying there are certain reasons or that it's like certain groups of people, because that's racist and stupid, and that's not what I mean. I mean, there are cultural, social things. Like, cops in England don't carry guns, and that might not work in America because they could probably get shot. So I don't know what the reason is, and most people who claim they do are probably just full of shit and stupid assholes. But it is an interesting thing to think about, and therefore, in a world as drastically different as Pokemon, I think it could be as drastically different as a 10-year-old kid going out to walk 3 cities away is not that dangerous. Like, it's a little dangerous, but like in the 70s, we let kids walk around too. Like, like
there's also, going back to the energy specifics that you're speaking of, there's also lately been a kind of hinting at human evolution in the Pokemon world. The fact that humans change and develop as they journey. And I was actually earlier back trying to kind of touch on that, because I also believe that one of the reasons why they start at a young age is that young biology develops more fluidly than when your body starts to get older. For instance, your brain is still in flux until a certain point in your age where those mental patterns start to cement themselves.
Yeah, it makes total sense. Then also, it bears mentioning that they're not fucking sent out alone. They're sent out with 1 to 6 other sentient beings who are much more powerful than an adult human that share a bond with the child so that they will fight to the death to protect that child's life no matter what. And while they don't help the child make responsible decisions, they're generally able to like prevent serious harm from being a common enough worry that it's worth losing sleep over, and giving the child responsibility for their actions instead of having an adult enforcing things over their shoulder helps them grow and learn.
Because just like with Pokemon, we also need to struggle to evolve and adapt and grow and mature. And so when they send them out in these conditions, but also with these other lives, which they also have to symbiotically care for, treat with respect, they actually are influenced to make responsible decisions naturally. Because if you keep on making irresponsible decisions, you are going to die out in the wilderness.
Exactly. And that would work here, too. The problem is it's a lot tougher. It would be a lot more dangerous, I think, in this world, even with how dangerous the Pokemon world is. Like, we would be at a disadvantage just walking around in the wild in the Pokemon world. But, if we left our world to go there. But you can't send a 10-year-old out to journey across America on his own. There's more pedophiles in this world. There's more and the kid just doesn't have 1 to 6 sentient beings who are willing to fight to the death to protect their life, no matter what. That goes a long way.
But that's also something.
If we send a kid out into the elements so it can learn, there's a high chance that kid might die before he learns anything useful, because you're not going to learn not to pull a tiger's tail if the tiger mauls you the first time you do it. But if you had a fucking lion around to be like, hey, don't maul that kid or I'll fuck you up, and the tiger's like, all right, well, check your kid, bro, then maybe the kid would survive long enough to learn not to pull a tiger's tail.
Well, there is that argument of every Pokemon versus a billion lions or something.
Yeah, and also, I think this brings us to something else that's interesting. I was just thinking about walking. Like, you walk everywhere in the Pokemon universe, and people are always asking, why can't you ride your Pokemon? Or like, why don't people drive cars? If cars clearly exist, why do we have to walk everywhere? Well, why does everyone in this world have a car? Mainly because it's culturally expected of them in order to be considered a grown-up. Like, you'd better believe if you told a teenage boy in Kanto that girls wouldn't take him seriously if he showed up to pick them up for a date every week in a car or on the back of a Pokemon instead of demonstrating that he can use his own 2 feet to get himself around, you better believe they'd be walking to Viridian City and back with that parcel. The same reason everyone drives in this world, only it's like a cultural value focused more on personal growth and maintaining a healthy ecosystem rather than bringing money to the automobile industry. So everyone walks everywhere.
I also believe that in the Pokemon world, it is much more understood the value of life intrinsically.
Yeah, I agree.
And I believe that even goes so far, because again, I keep trying to touch on this, is that there is a fundamental change in human beings as they go on their Pokemon journey. They get stronger themselves. While you don't get to see it traditionally in a way you may readily be able to view, humans level up and grow and progress in the Pokemon journey as well. And I think partially that's symbolized by the gym badges, but I also believe that it comes from what you're able to see happens developing with your Pokemon. For instance, your capacity to mega evolve your Pokemon, or your capacity to use these new Z moves. It is a development of the human body to channel this symbiotic energy link, and as you travel and fundamentally bond with your Pokemon, you become a stronger receptive antenna for this.
Yeah, I'm 100% on board. And dude, this is why people have signs in their living rooms which instruct you how to run. Like, press A to run or whatever. It's a fucking cultural value. It's basically like when you go to your grandma's house and she has a sign on the wall that's like, always respect, I don't know, how like grandmas have like those little idioms and sayings on little framed, embroidered.
My grandma had "Don't piss off, grandma."
Yeah, and there's always like 1 or 2 smartass ones too. That's like, "God bless this mess" or whatever. I don't know. Like
that was literally the only one, and it was actually outside. It was outside, nailed into the front door. Don't piss off, grandma.
Get your Switch was the addendum to that. Go pick your Switch. No, I love that though. Yeah. Press A to run is a cultural, it's like, as my people say. Press A to run. I like it. And so I think the Pokemon universe is not a utopia as we're tempted to think about it, but I do think it is a lot better and more balanced and more utopian than our universe. However, of course it has its problems, and any world does, or else I don't think it's healthy if it doesn't, you know? Since society, we've discussed the ways that society is developed and its influences, but how did that actually manifest, especially in the modern day? Pokemon battling has just naturally become a sport and a pastime and been regulated. Hence, the league. Another big area of constant debate among fans. A lot of people prefer to look at the league as the government faction. So if Lance is the champion, Lance is Donald Trump. Like, not the asshole, but Lance is the head honcho in the Pokemon world. And if if Brock is the gym leader of Pewter City, Brock is the mayor of Pewter City. I've expressed before that I don't prefer to look at it that way, and that I think the evidence in the game just points to the league.
The anime already discredits that.
Okay, well, the anime is a different canon, but yeah, I think the league just regulates Pokemon matters, and mainly Pokemon battling matters, but I don't know. How do you look at it, Jeremy?
Well, I know you say that the anime is a different canon, but structurally, for the most part, it does, in some very simple aspects, work very, very, very close to the common sense paradigms that kind of get filled out from gaps.
Yeah, I think it's a quantum leap away from the universe that I'm kind of talking about, of the red and blue versions of the game, because we've already established that the Pokemon universe is a multiverse, much like Rick and Morty. So you could quantum leap from Red's universe to Ash's universe, and there would be some differences, but I do agree with you. It can still be useful for determining things about the other universes, like the video game universe that I'm so interested in. The anime can help inform that, except in areas where it's directly contradicted, and if it's unknown, it's still up to debate.
So, for instance, in one of the episodes, a mayor of a town abandoned his Bulbasaur in the sewers because it was weak. Not a gym leader, a mayor.
Yes. I agree. I believe there are mayors and public political officials and things like that.
And if you look, the police force is not the same as the league. So there is clearly a regulatory and regulated system of government. And I do believe it is a one-world government. I really do.
Now, wait. By region to region, or covers all regions?
I believe that it is region to region, individual cultures allowed to regulate themselves, but there's an understood universal system of law.
Okay, now currently, my particular viewpoint is that currently we don't have enough information, or we haven't figured out enough to say with certainty, but that there's still value to debating these things. But I tend to look at it as town to town. So Viridian City has a mayor, Pewter City has a mayor, Cerulean City has a mayor, and they sort of like handle things. But then the Pokemon League, I think region to region, are their own leagues, but they're affiliated. Like, there is a greater Pokemon League that's like, all right, look, there's a Kanto League, there's a Sinnoh League, there's a Johto League, but the league.
I wasn't speaking on the league.
No, I know. So I'm saying I think the league is a region-wide thing, and then each region is sort of related to each other, but they're still their own sovereign things, and then the towns within the regions are sovereign.
I believe that with Alola, it shows that the league's influence is not universal, because the league was referred to separately in Alola.
Yes, I think that works with what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying the league is the universal governing factor. I'm saying each region sort of has a league established.
No, that's what I mean.
And those leagues have...
That's what I mean. they were just starting to form a league, because in Alola, they didn't have traditional gyms. They didn't have an Elite Four.
I know.
You are literally getting in on the first floor of the league.
Yeah, I know.
Establishing itself in a new region.
So what I'm saying is that Kanto and Johto, I mean, we know that Kanto and Johto share a league. So, like, Kanto and Johto developed their own league. Hoenn developed their own league. Sinnoh developed their own league. Unova developed their own league. Kalos developed their own league. And Alola is developing their own league. Now, all these leagues, we don't know what happens with Alolas, or at least I don't, because I haven't played. But all these other leagues were developed on their own, but they formed a sort of United Nations, so that's why there's some consistency between the leagues, but I still see them as sort of sovereign entities to each region. And then as far as actual governing legislative factions, which I don't believe the league is, I think the league is strictly a Pokemon battling thing, those, I just personally think it's like a city-to-city thing, and again, I can't reinforce this enough. It does not come from any type of political leaning. I'm not trying to make a statement about the best way to govern the world. I'm simply saying, looking at this fantasy universe, I'm trying to figure out how they have chosen to govern their world, and that's just sort of where I lean, but I don't think... I'm not fighting that I'm right, because I don't have enough information to know.
And again... what I'm stating with when you look, because I have played and I've beaten the Alola region, when you look at it, it specifically says they're not developing their own league. It's that they're developing their own system, but they refer to the league like a foreign body.
Yeah, all I'm saying is that doesn't contradict what I'm saying.
Right.
I don't know how it works in Alola, but I'm that's exactly what I'm saying.
And what I mean by this is that I believe that the league is a universal thing, but they make differentiated systems for each region's unique circumstances. I believe that it's a unifying factor, because when you look at Alola, it is utterly different from any other region. How it works, how Pokemon are distributed, and how you are recognized as a trainer, everything is different. But once something becomes league, you start getting gym leaders.
Mm-hmm.
You start getting the Elite Four. And Alola works nothing like that at all. Yeah,
and that's awesome. That's cool that they're taking that step, and that honestly, to me, reinforces my worldview of Pokemon. Like, that region is forming its own cultural ideas, and there are common themes throughout cultures, even in Alola, to the other ones, and some more common than others, just because of the way that it develops from the way this natural world works of the union between Pokemon and man. So I think we could...
And I'm not contradicting you. I'm actually not disagreeing with you. I'm just putting in supporting factors about this.
Yeah.
Because it also in the Alola region are police force that have been around for a much longer time than the establishment of the league in their region. They literally have police force, and also their own regulations about how Pokemon are treated, how you're allowed to move around in their region. They state that they have an even higher concern for their environment than the other regions. So, for instance, HMs aren't a thing.
Interesting.
You have to ride Pokemon.
That's awesome.
That you have to qualify for by beating kahunas.
Nice. I like that. So I think that's a good parallel to the league too. So here's the thing.
Not all Pokemon regulation is league regulation. And for me, that shows that there is a system of government from region to region that establishes regional laws. What the league is literally more like a system for competitive gameplay.
Yeah, exactly. So this is where, I mean, we could, of course, spend all night debating the specifics of how the legislative governing factions function, but I think that the people who look at the league as the governing faction are wrong, but they're still right in spirit in a way, because the league regulates Pokemon battling, and Pokemon battling is the cornerstone of society. So if you regulate food, or if you regulate, like the types of culture, like
anytime you regulate what is considered to be a vital necessity, you have a strong impact on the culture you're in.
Yes. So they probably have, in a way, more impact than the actual legislative governing factions, but it's still important that they're there too. I mean, the way I kind of see it, and these are specifics which could be debated, but like the Elite Four are established by the reigning champion, so that's why they're different in Gen 2, because the champion changed, and so Red, through his journey after encountering all these different gym leaders and stuff, set up his own Elite Four and established Blue, for example, as the gym leader in Viridian City. And the gym leaders, to some capacity, they're established by the Pokemon League. I'd imagine by the champion, as I said, in the Elite Four. But like I would totally see as having an influence on local governments, as they're generally like trusted and responsible officials.
Yes.
And they know more probably than a lot of elected mayors.
They'd be very much like very, very trusted advisors on matters involving the world. Because that's another thing to understand, is that Pokemon trainers travel the world.
Yeah.
So they become very connected with the living organism that is the Pokemon world itself. Pokemon, people, and themselves.
So they are not the lawmakers because they're not qualified to be the lawmakers. But if the mayor of Celadon City was going to move forward with a bill that Erica had publicly renounced, that would be newsworthy. It would be like the mayor of Celadon is, in an unprecedented move, going against gym leader Erica's council and instituting this bill, even though she's firmly opposed to it. Like, that would be news, and people would be like, "Oh wow, really? Why? Like, Erica knows what she's talking about. This must be. Let me take a look at this."
We should get rid of the mayor. Let's go get the pitchforks.
Right, I like to think that there's not as much vitriol, and that it would actually lead them to inspect the issue and look at both sides and think about and discuss it. But no, who are we kidding? They're only human. They'd go at each other's throats. No, because they got Pokemon
Maybe there's
battles.
a pitchfork Pokemon that can do it for them.
Ooh. Gen 8? Wait, no, Gen 9? Where are we? Gen 12?
Gen E over 12. I don't know.
Oh my god, we're coming up on Gen X. So, yeah, I like it. And I also, to bring it from society back to science a little bit, gym leaders give out gym badges, which I said I wanted to touch on later. Gym badges have an effect in game. They allow Pokemon up to a certain level to obey you, and they generally allow you to use certain moves outside of battle. Now, not talking about the kahunas, but gym leaders that give you gym badges. Can you think of any examples of other things that gym badges do that I didn't touch upon?
At one time, although I don't know if this is solid or just something that I phantom remember, but I believe that at one time, gym badges even gave stealth benefits for owning them.
Meaning what?
Like increasing the defenses of your party, for instance. I don't know if that's for real or whether or not I just have that in a fevered dream somewhere.
Yeah, totally. You said stat bonuses? I thought you said something about stealth.
Yeah. No. Stat bonuses.
Oh, I thought you said stealth bonuses. Okay, yeah, absolutely. And I didn't think about that. Totally.
I believe that they act like a receiver for... I think that they act like a receiver and an overclock device that increases how much the trainer can output from their vital energy link with their Pokemon.
Wow, yeah, that isn't exactly what I was going to say, but I think it is kind of what I was going to say, and it works in conjunction with it either way. The way I see the badges are, they're probably made from some type of metal that it is intricately linked to this energy the way that Pokemon are, and it actually enhances the energy and like encourages the bond between trainer
That
and
is
Pokemon.
exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah,
Yep.
so it encourages the bond, and that is why you get stat boosts. That's why you get the ability to perform certain moves outside of battle. Now, it's probably not, now you can perform certain moves outside of battle. That's a way to word it in-game. In universe, it would be probably worded like, yeah, you know how you used your Pikachu to glow a little bit in that battle? This is going to enhance that enough so that you could use your Pikachu to walk around a cave and see where you're going. Like, in ways like that. So it's kind of like, yeah, it enhances your ability to use Flash. And then also, it helps traded Pokemon obey you because it enhances your bond to your Pokemon. And this is why...
like an overclock device.
Yeah, and...
something that enhances your reach and efficiency at trading your energy.
And this is why they're entrusted to gym leaders regionally, or by regionally I don't mean as in the Kanto region, the Johto region, but regionally within Kanto, to Viridian, Pewter, Celadon, Cerulean, Saffron, so that there is a representative there to determine who is worthy and responsible enough of giving this to, because if you give it to someone like Giovanni, who I believe used a lot of deceit and treachery to get to his position of having these gym badges, they would abuse that, and that would strengthen their ability to bond with Pokemon, which means they could steal Pokemon. Everyone in Team Rocket probably has a fucking gym badge. Maybe not, because he probably doesn't want everyone to have that much power, but you know Giovanni probably gave the admins like a gym badge so that if they steal Pokemon, it enhances their ability to bond with that Pokemon and be like, no, kill your fucking original trainer. Like, maybe they can't just take over their will and mind control them, so maybe it's hard to get a Pokemon to just kill its original trainer. But if you're a badass who has 8 gym badges and knows how to bond with Pokemon, you know, like, you could do some fucked up shit. So that's why you battle a gym leader to prove yourself, and the gym leader is able to...
It's almost like taking an active time battle version of a psychological evaluation.
Yeah, and it works because you're sort of bonding with the people you're battling because of that exchange of energy.
Yep.
Yeah, totally. I want to live there so bad. So this is how I see, like, you can challenge the Elite Four, obviously, if you have beaten every gym leader in a region. I think that's what it is. I don't think it's if you have 8 gym badges. It's just that there's generally 8 gym leaders in the region, and if you've beaten them all, then the Elite Four will let you challenge them. And if you defeat all the Elite Four, then you can challenge the champion. So if you beat the champion, you become the champion, and I think that's when you get more power. So power equals power. Like, power isn't a bad thing. It just can be used for bad things. I think power is a good thing, but maybe the story of Pokemon is also a story of the way power can be used for bad. Like, Giovanni became a gym leader and was trying to obtain more power and probably had his eyes on becoming champion and instituting his own gym leaders. And when Red came to power, he shut that shit down, but then withdrew from the position and said, look, all right, Blue, I want you at Viridian City. Koga, you taught me a lot. I want you in the Elite Four. Agatha, you're out. I don't like your ideals.
You're creepy. You're creepy. You use ghosts. Ghosts freak me the fuck out. I'm sorry. You gotta go.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of, that's one of those things we don't have enough information.
Agatha's just like, fuck you, whippersnapper. I'm going home.
Yeah, but that's just my headcanon.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've pretty much touched upon most of the major areas that I wanted to. You know, there's definitely more areas we can explore, but that's what the rest of Silph Radio is for.
Yeah!
So, thank you for joining once again. Jeremy, I'd really love to have you back on again to talk about a more specific topic, because we all know how much I love the specific topics.
Absolutely. I would love that.
But before we sign out, I would like you to join me here for this new segment we've been doing on Silph Radio. A segment which I think is right up your alley.
All right.
I've been... Oh, go ahead.
I said nothing.
Oh, sorry.
That was a rumble from our ceiling up above. For the residents on high, they doth decree noise. And of course, there's a yowling kitty.
All right, first and foremost, we need a name for this segment so it's easier to introduce. But since we don't have one yet, I'll ask everybody to shoot me any ideas you have, and I'll use the best of them. But I have been asking our listeners as of late to send in their Pokemon teams. Just send me the Pokeballs. I'm running a beauty spa. I'll take good care of them. You'll get them back, and I promise you won't just get 3 Bidoofs and 3 Magikarps back. You'll get your original Pokemon back, healthy and strong. Shut up, Butch and Cassidy. I've got this. No, I've been asking people to send in their teams as in, I want to know, in your headcanon, in your incarnation in the Pokemon universe, what Pokemon team do you have? Or if you wished for one in the real world. I don't want to know who you have on your video game, although I would love to know who you have on your video game. I want to know, who's your team? Who's your team? No legendaries. That's pretty much the rules. No legendaries. And with any sort of ancillary information, if you know what town you're from, what nature your Pokemon are, if they have names or gender identities, I would love to hear about it because I think, and you think, Jeremy, I know this, that the most fun thing to do in Pokemon is create characters.
Yeah, totally.
So we've gotten a lot of really, really cool teams already, and I'm really looking forward to hearing more. Our listener, Matthew, who hit us up on Facebook, thank you very much, and thanks for liking the posts, Matthew. It goes far, and thank you for your kind words. We really appreciate how much you like the show. Sent us his team, and I'd love to read and discuss it with you.
Okay.
So, he says, I've put lots of time into this decision, so bear with me. Okay, so if I stumbled upon a genie, my team would be number 1, Nidoking. Always been my favorite, like my starter that poisoned the shit out of me as a Nidoran. Okay, so I think he's saying he had a Nidoran as his first Pokemon, which then evolved to a Nidoking.
That'd be really, really cool.
That is cool. I love that. I think you shouldn't do it as a rule, but 3-stage Pokemon work best for starters, although Eevee's a great starter. There's definitely other things that work as starters, but I like the idea.
Although I'll tell you, if I had a Pokemon that the first thing they did was poison me, I'd kick that thing in the throat.
Hey, leave that to the wild Pokemon. Leave that to the Hitmonlees. Number 2, Umbreon, because let's be real, that's a cool-ass Pokemon. I agree, let us be real. It is a cool-ass Pokemon, and it's on my team as well.
It is cool. It's a little tanky bastard.
What's that?
It's a little tanky bastard.
Your favorite is Leafeon, correct?
Yep, that's my baby. I would sleep with it as a body pillow if I could.
Oh, you are waiting with bated breath for the Ghost-type Eevee, aren't you?
I am. It is true.
They're saving it. They're saving Ghost-type. They're saving Dragon-type. I think it would be dope if they did those together because you want it to be a tough choice. Make me choose between the Ghost-type Eevee or the Dragon-type Eevee. I don't know what they look like, but I think I'd lean towards Ghost.
It would be Ghost for me.
Yeah.
And I really hope it isn't something crazy like you have to murder your Eevee to get it.
New theory, Pokemon die when they evolve. All right. Number 3, Chestnut. I love everything about it, like a big dumb bruiser that's fiercely loyal. Chestnut's the starter, right?
Yes, he's the starter, and he's beautiful. I love Spiky Shield. It's awesome. Great choice.
It took me a little while to get used to Chestnut. It wasn't what I wanted out of Chespin's evolution, but I like it. Number 4, Escavalier, because every team needs a straight shooter with a hard-on for chivalry. Who's Escavalier again? Oh, is that the water type?
No, it's the bug type that looks like a knight wielding a lance.
Ah, yeah, with the little knight mohawk. I don't know, the little Spartan helmet.
Yep.
That's an interesting Pokemon. That wasn't one I ever really liked that much, but you know, with Pokemon, they can come around and you can find an appreciation for them, you know, at the unlikeliest of times.
It's a little chivalrous Lancer type.
Interesting. It's an insectoid Pokemon with a head sporting the red horsehair crest of a knight's helmet with a visor underneath it. That's how Bulbapedia describes it.
Yep.
Number 5, Larvitar, my little emo buddy who can't help but fuck up. That's cute. You got to have a baby Pokemon in there. It's nice to have a little baby Pokemon to take care of. Your whole life doesn't have to be about battling.
Larvitar also eventually turns into Tyranitar. I love that thing. Like, when I first saw that, I didn't care if it evolved. I didn't, because it was like, you have little emo makeup under your eyes and stuff. You're super sad all the time. I want to hug you. When I first saw it at Mount Silver, that was great.
And his final Pokemon, number 6, Breloom, because it's a cantankerous bastard that has a hard ass buried inside. We both have expressed our love for Breloom numerous times before. What else is there to say? Breloom is a awesome Pokemon, one of my favorites, one of Jeremy's favorites.
It is a fucking badass. It's beautiful.
Great design, great Pokemon. Hell yeah. So, Jeremy, thank you so much. It's been so much fun.
It has been fun for me as well. Thank you.
I really hope to have you back again soon, and I really hope to have the listeners back again soon, too. You can find this podcast and more like it at www.secretroommultimedia.com. I've been working on the website. I really hope you check it out. secretroommultimedia.com. There's other podcasts, there's videos, there's music, there's comics, and soon to be more. So please go check out secretroommultimedia.com. And sometimes episodes go up early. So, hey, it pays to check the site.
So do it.
Please. And please show us some support. If you can hit us up on Facebook the way Matthew did, that'd be awesome. We want to hear your teams. We want to hear episode topic suggestions. And we want to hear your feedback about the show. What do you like? What don't you like? What episodes do you appreciate? What do you want to hear more of? You want to hear more Pokemon or more gym leaders or more trainers or more towns? I'm sure everyone wants to hear the town episodes.
Yes. Or do you just want to hear our hopes and dreams?
Yeah, please reach out to us. We love hearing from you. We're on Twitter at FairPointPod, at FairPointPod, as in that's a fair point pod. And we look forward to hearing from you. You can also go to our subreddit, r/SilphRadio. That's a great place to join in the discussions, start your own discussions, and sometimes I reach out to people for their input before we record the episodes. So your thoughts could end up in an episode of Silph Radio. Thanks again for listening. I look forward to talking with Jeremy while you guys listen again in the future.
Absolutely.
From the Secret Room, I'm Nathan K.
And I'm Jeremy Vyne.
And have a great week out there and stay out of fights. Channel your aggression through Pokemon battles and be nice to one another.
Peace and love.
All right, that's it for the podcast.